Of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at an article, an editorial piece really, written by Professor Kathleen Stock. She is a professor of philosophy. Well, until very recently was a professor of philosophy. She was basically pushed out of her job because she spoke the truth. And she was bullied and bullied and bullied out of her job, not just by the trans lobby, but by her colleagues, because she insisted that women are women. So she's written this piece, and it's quite telling. It's quite intelligently written, as you'd expect from a professor, and it's just very very common sense. And it certainly needs looking at. So it's actually in her words, but I'll be reading it. But in her words, and obviously any comments I make will be my own. But we'll go through this and take a look. So here's the article, and it begins with the headline, which that first sentence really says it all. I mean, it's something that I completely agree with. I'm sure that 99% of the population agrees with. I shall read it, but it's there to see. But sorry, but you don't become a woman by just saying you are one. Hounded from her job by the fanatical trans rights lobby, brave academic Professor Kathleen Stock defiantly backs a new campaign for women's rights. She was one of these that said, women are women, blah, 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 all that we've been talking about on this channel for a few weeks now. And I will say, incidentally, when I started it, I did expect a lot of rebukes and comments about, oh, this, that, and the other, and how awful a person I am. Overwhelmingly, massively, overwhelmingly positive. People agree with what I say, and they agree with me putting this out. And I think it would be fair to say that I'm putting a voice to what a lot of people want to say, but they feel either unsafe in saying it, they feel that they could be damaged if they said it, particularly sort of through jobs. You could lose your job if your particular employer is a bit woke. There's a lot of people who want to say what I am prepared to say, but feel they can't. So I'm giving them a voice. I'm standing foursquare beside, behind, and with real women who do not wish to be cancelled and who do not wish the female voice to be subsumed by a gruff male voice pretending to be a woman. So I just thought I'd get that and clarify that position. But now we'll go through this anyway. But thank you for listening to that. So here we've gone through the headlines. So here's the article. Now, this is her words now from now on. Had someone told you, not so long ago, that politicians would be terrified to answer the simple question, what is a woman? Who would have believed it? Very few, I think. Yet today the question has become so toxic that elected representatives try desperately to change the subject when it's raised, or they stammer something nonsensical by way of reply. Now, I've done articles on this, I've done videos on this with Keir Starmer, sort of, but that's not helping. You get Annalise Dodds incapable of answering it. You get Yvette Cooper incapable of answering it. You get everybody trying to avoid it, deflect, give, pat answers, say that it's not the important point. This isn't what people feel is important. Actually, yes, it is. And it's just cowardly politicians who cannot define a woman because they think, oh my God, if I say what 99.9% of people say, then I'll be a phobe. I'll be a phobe. And they don't want to be a phobe, do they? 99.9% of people would give them the respect if they answered the question, but they're looking for that tiny 0.01 mark of a vote that they may save one vote, not realising they're going to lose a lot more. 51% of the population. Straight off the bat, I'd imagine. For we live in a world, this is her continuing, for we live in a world where, to state a simple truth, that a woman is an adult human female, or women don't have penises, both of which of these statements are true, is deemed so offensive you could be banned from social media, rebuked by your teacher, disciplined by your employer, or even cautioned by the police. We're living in a world where a policeman will come to your house to discuss hate speech and wrongthink because you say a woman can't have a penis and that a woman is a grown human female. That is now deemed to be hate speech and wrongthink. What a world we live in, when it quite plainly is factually correct. And I should know, she continues. Last year, I was harassed out of my university job of 18 years for saying such things. Masked men with flares came onto the campus, putting up posters and holding banners saying I should be fired. Yes, they're brave, aren't they? They're brave men. Let's put my mask on. Rather than engaging in a conversation, they went straight for the hate and fear, like all fascists do. Some of my colleagues took to social media to say they agreed with them. Eventually, I had no choice but to leave. Extreme as it was, my case is part of a wider pattern, one that is affecting ever greater numbers of ordinary people. And that is why I welcome the new campaign to protect women's rights. Respect my sex if you want my ex. Yeah, I mentioned this the other day. This was a group set up with Maya Forstater. She continues, the sooner we wake up to the dangers, the faster we can get to a world that is both safe and fair to women, because at the moment it is neither. When you're having grown-ass men walking into changing rooms, that's not safe. And when you're having grown-ass men taking women on at sport, that's not fair. This should concern everyone, not least because we arrived here through profoundly anti-democratic means, including orchestrated campaigns, internet mobs and relentless lobbying by a tiny, tiny minority who have got the biggest mouths. But we are many, they are few. We need to get loud, and we need to be louder, and we need to lobby and make these things illegal and turn it around so that we're not the ones guilty of hate speech or wrongthink. They are the ones that are wrong. And if we can do that, then we can win. Campaigning groups, and in particular the charity Stonewall, have influenced business, public institutions and government alike. And they have done this so effectively that hundreds of thousands of people feel frightened into silence. Not this person, not J.K. Rowling, not Maya Forstater, and not Professor Kathleen Stock. Also, Stonewall set up to get set up to get equal rights for gays. They've managed that. There's no reason for them to exist. So they went, oh my God, how do we remain relevant? Trans, we'll go for trans. Because without the differences, because they've got everything they want for gay people, they've got no reason to be. They need to just disband and go back to their knitting classes or whatever they do. It takes some bravery to question the Stonewall orthodoxy. Yes, because it's fascist. And they will use violence. This is the irony. They will use violence against women to shut women up because they want men to be exactly like women. Well, if these men want to be exactly like women, why aren't they shutting up? It's what they want. They want women to shut up. It's irony that is beyond them because they're stupid. To count as a woman, a male doesn't need surgery or hormones, or a legal sex change, or a medical diagnosis of a health condition. He doesn't even need to dress like a woman. As long as he says so, he, or rather she now, is a woman. This is a radical view with profound and troubling implications, she says. Yet thanks to aggressive and sometimes coercive campaigning, up to and including violence, it is increasingly regarded as mainstream. When Conservative MP Jamie Wallis announced he was trans last week, he was applauded for bravery. even though it seems he will continue to be in all other ways a man, including how he dresses. In fact, what he didn't say was that he was trans. What he said is he would like to be trans. So he's actually saying he's not trans, but, oh, I'm having a hard time. Oh, I'm going to be trans just to sort of deflect from the hard time I'm having with all the other shit that's going on around him. But he's not actually trans. He just has a desire to be trans. Well, surely you either are trans or you're not trans. You can't desire it. It's like saying, well, I'm straight, but I'd like to be gay. When the gay lobby are saying, no, we can't help being gay. Being gay is natural to us. Well, you can't have it both ways. So pick a side, mate. Pick a side, you stupid man. This policy of accepting whatever people say about their own gender, irrespective of the physical facts, is what's known as self-identification or self-ID. Stonewall wants it recognised in law. It's a joke. And although the group has failed so far in England, it has succeeded in Scotland, where self-ID will soon be the only thing required for a legally acknowledged gender recognition certificate. So if I commit a crime, I'm up in front of the beak, I'm given 5 years, I think, yeah, sod that, I'll do that in a ladies' prison. Oh, that'll be a bit easier. Also, might get me some. I'm a lady, Your Honour. Off I go to a ladies' prison. It's as simple as that. That is the law in Scotland. I kid you not. That is the law. I only have to say I'm a woman, and I'm a woman legally. That's it. And it's a joke, and it's wrong. So if I was someone who committed domestic violence, my wife went into a refuge, I'd just throw on a pretty frock, put a bow in my hair, turn up the door going, oh, I need to come in, love. You know what I mean? Walk in, I can batter the shit out of her again. She's not safe, but they can't refuse to let me in because I've said I'm a woman. And that's the law in Scotland. Well done, Scotland. Well done. You have just completely buggered women. The principal victims in all this are women, she says. Pressure groups have persuaded public bodies that a biological male who believes he is a woman should have access to female changing rooms, sports teams, hospital wards, rape crisis services, and domestic violence refuges. How is this possibly right? It's not. But well done, Scotland. And that is going to happen in England unless we stand up and stop it. And the only people who can stand up and stop it are the 99% of the people in this country who think it's wrong. They have persuaded some police forces to record a male-bodied rapist as female if he asks to be. Some biologically male criminals who self-identify as women are sent to women's jails. Yet, in losing the meanings of the word woman, girl and female, we have lost the power to communicate clearly about the needs and interests of females, a group that makes up half the population. Yeah, because you can't even call yourself a woman anymore, because you could have a woman's issue that does not affect a biologically male body, but you can't say it's a woman's issue anymore because some women are men. And as just remind these women that are men, you can call yourself a woman, but when you hit 50, mate, you're going to have the old prostate. Yeah? You'll be bending over there and you'll be having your prostate done because you're a man. The most visible effect is the blatant unfairness of women athletes having to compete against biological males whom they haven't got a hope in hell of beating, given their respective body types. Which, again, I've covered in several videos. Look back over the last few weeks. This relates to swimming, cycling and running. And there was track and field, there was football, there's lots. There's just lots. And there's no way. Hockey, you name it. In addition, there are negative effects on female sexual assault victims, anxiously having to face the possibility of predatory, male-bodied people in changing rooms or hospital wards, and in fact, in one case, actually getting raped in a hospital by a man who called himself a woman, and the NHS told the police that couldn't have happened because there's only women in there, and they covered up a rape. The NHS enabled and then covered up and protected a rapist. That's the same NHS you went out and you clapped for. Well done, but you don't clap for them anymore. With the ideas behind self-ID being championed in schools, youth groups and universities, many young people are confused about what a woman or a man is. No. It's easy. XY chromosomes, man. XX chromosomes, woman. Regardless of what you're wearing, what lippy you put on, what shoes you got on your feet, or what you want to call yourself now. It's simple. You're born male or you're born female, and that's it. And if you have a problem, it's a mental problem, see a psychiatrist. This confusion has contributed to a huge number of troubled young people demanding medication to change their bodies permanently. And it's irreversible and it's awful because it turns out that they are merely confused. They have then undergone the surgery, then regret it, and by then it's too late. And the trans lobby have destroyed a life. Many are then receiving it, even though doctors know little about the long-term effects. These ideas have been adopted without proper consultation, mainly by frightening people into compliance, which is dangerous and coercive and the fascist way. I believe it is one of the greatest of the many threats to free speech now blighting our society. Yeah, because the moment you mention it, you're an ist and a phobe, and you're shut down. From the start of their crusade, campaigners have argued that merely to question self-ID renders you transphobic. This is a grotesque insinuation and a totally false one in my case. I have backed strong legal protections for trans people throughout my writing and speaking on the subject. Stonewall states that people's reasonably founded worries about the risks involved in self-ID policies must be the result of bigotry, and that they stem from the self-belief that all trans women are predators. Of course, this is false. Most trans women aren't dangerous, just as most men aren't dangerous. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to protect women from the few males that are. Yeah, and the best way to protect women from the odd male that may be dangerous is to not put men in women's spaces. Inevitably, attempts to smear those who dare to question self-ID have made people afraid. Not this people. I've said this before. I'm not afraid. If you lot want to have a go at me, the trans lobby, feel free, because here's the thing. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't give a shit. Because my views are legitimately held views. And they are the views of the vast majority. And the reason the trans lobby get angry is they know they are the views of the vast majority. There is now a hate crime law that says that someone can get a heavier sentence if an initial crime was accompanied by transphobia. When perception of transphobia can include telling an adult biological male that he is not in fact female, this is a very scary state of affairs indeed. No wonder politicians are frightened to say what a woman is. No, I would see a male dressed in a frock, pair of slingbacks, a wig, maybe got a little pretty bow in it, calls himself Nancy now. And I would go, oh, it's a bloke in a dress. And they go, I'm a lady. And I go, no, you're a man in a dress. I bet if I took your blood type, it would be XY. It's not transphobic, it's fact. Facts do not be ist or phobe. Facts are real. And the great thing about facts is, facts remain true, whatever your stupid opinion is. Or my stupid opinion, anybody's stupid opinion. Because opinions generally are just that. They're just opinions. They're what people feel, think, how they view the world. But regardless of how you think, feel, or view the world, a fact remains true. And the fact is that a man who dresses as a woman, calls himself Nancy, he's still a man. He just happens to dress as a woman and call himself Nancy. The fact that feeling or believing or saying you're a woman doesn't make you a woman. No matter what campaigners, the police, your boss, the Guardian or anyone else may think, human biology is unaffected by thoughts or words. Indeed, your sex is immutable. You can have surgery, you can have chemicals. They don't make one jot of difference. Even getting a gender recognition certificate or having medical treatment doesn't affect the basic facts about biology. Just saying something doesn't make it so. If politicians can't say what a woman is, how can they be expected to represent women's interests? At a time when violence against women is on an increase and prosecutions at an unprecedented low, women and girls desperately need advocates. And you got one here, sisters. Trans people deserve more sensible representation too. Indeed, I know that many are deeply concerned about the direction Stonewall has taken in their name. They fear a backlash. In the meantime, Too many public figures hope this mess will clear itself up, but it won't. No, it damn well won't. You can't change material reality by unilaterally changing words. Instead, you merely create misunderstanding and set groups of people against each other. What we need is a free, open, honest debate that acknowledges the biological facts, one that elected politicians cannot shirk and cannot face because they are scared, they are spineless, they are stupid. We owe it to trans people, but most of all, we owe it to women. We certainly do. This needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed at a legal level, and we need to test every politician on this. Test them all. Ask them what a woman is. Ask them, can a woman have a penis? And if they fail to answer, if they shirk an answer, if they mumble, stumble, stammer, don't vote for them. You don't want people like that in power. You don't want cowards, moral cowards. Because that's the only answer. They're either moral cowards or they're stupid. And either way, they shouldn't be in power. Anyway, I'm going to round off here. It's been a bit longer than I planned it to be, but it's an important issue, and one I feel very, very strongly about. So I have kind of went on at one. But yeah, we'll come up and round off and finish the video. So I think Professor Stock really sort of got to the nub of the matter in that you cannot self-identify. It's dangerous to allow that to happen. And that just by saying, as she said, just by calling yourself a woman does not a woman make. It's far more complex. You have to have the lived experience, the growth, the puberty. You cannot be raised a boy and become a woman. All you can be is a man who likes wearing ladies' clothes. And I'm not for 1 minute impugning anyone who does. If you like wearing them, I'm not going to judge you for wearing a woman's clothing. I'm not going to judge you for changing your name to a feminine name. I'm not going to judge you for, shall we say, making your appearance feminine. What I am going to judge you for is imposing your rights ahead of those of real women, or of forcing your male body into female only spaces where a male body does not wish to be, or at least your male body may wish to be there, but where a male body should not be. For example, a ladies' ward in a hospital, changing rooms, a field of sport. We've covered all of these before. Rights and responsibilities must be shared, but they must never be trodden on. And women have rights, and it is only right that they have rights, and we must uphold those hard-earned freedoms. And one of the basic freedoms is the freedom of fear and the freedom from violence. Anyway, we'll round that off. If you like what you hear and see on this channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications on future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.